for coordinating the whole thing very nicely. And my special thanks to Carl Berry. Is he here? No. Watching it. He was the one who encouraged me to give a talk. Otherwise, I just wanted to attend this event. So, some 15 years ago, I was a postgraduate student at the National Institute for Technology, Karnataka, one of the premier technical institutes in India. And that is where I came across this software, LaTeX. One of my senior friends, he said that it is better to learn, especially for mathematical typesetting. It's very easy to write the equations and other stuff. So that's how I started learning that software. Initially, we had a book by Leslie Lamport, and at those days there was no GitHub and those things where we can just copy paste the code. So I just kept the book near my side and I was typing it manually on the computer and checking out what is text BF, what is text IT. It was a very nice experience. And especially I found tech to be very beautiful. In fact, I was very much attracted to this contents, table of contents, what do you call this? Contents page. It's so beautiful and organized. It looks wonderful. And the default font also, So that was what first attracted me, you can say. And I found especially mathematical typesetting to be very easy. Just write a code and just write few lines or few letters and you have it on the screen. Just imagine using a word processor or a GUI program for doing this. It's so tough actually. And we had a lot of math intensive, you can say, courses during our master's program. And eventually when I worked as a university lecturer, I was handling the courses linear algebra and electromagnetics, which also are quite math intensive. So I really liked the way that LaTeX is so easy to typeset math especially. And of course there are other benefits, like you have the list of tables, list of figures, automatic indexing, and we don't have to bother anything. It's all pre-built and it's very nice. And one more thing which of late I am feeling the benefits is the separation of form and content, which I am going to explain in some time. And finally, the most important point which I want to emphasize, that there are this community of volunteers who are actually helping people like me. I am just a beginner in this software. I am really grateful to the community of volunteers, especially when we were publishing a book. In our ashram, I am the only one who uses LaTeX, so I could not ask anyone, nor do I know anyone to ask. So I just went to this Stack Exchange or Overleaf and just asked my question with a minimal working example, and then they give the answer within a day or two. And I have been benefited by that a lot, especially when the publication was nearing its date. We had to give a proofreader's copy to the other team members. So at that time, I did not know how to do such a, big book. It's almost 230 pages, so in size. So at that time, Andrew Stacy, who is the author of the PDF pages package, he just gave me a code and I ran the code. It worked, and I could immediately print it out and give it to the proofreaders. So similarly, other people like Sam Carter and others, they also helped me a lot when we faced a lot of challenges while doing this processing. So how this volunteer spirit is very important, because there is no exchange of money involved. It is just a desire to help others. That's all. I myself am a full-time volunteer, and we don't work for money. We just want to help people in whatever way we can. So I really appreciate this volunteer spirit which is actually fueling the whole tech community in one sense. So that's a very wonderful thing. And now I would like to explain how we use LaTeX in our ashram. So the first thing is we have these recitation books. It has the verses from the Bhagavad Gita, a sacred scripture in India, and we have this multilingual approach wherein we have used the Devanagari script along with the Kannada script and the Devanagari script along with the Roman script while we publish the books. Because many people cannot read the Devanagari script directly. For them, the Roman script and the local language, it helps a lot. So these are the 3 books which we have published, and some copies are on my table also. Please feel free to just have a look at them whenever you have some time. So I would like to just explain some key features, how I got it done through LaTeX. First of all, this chapter title, we have it on a new page. It's not along with the other content of the book. It stands out when it is put on a new page. So I use this package, fancy chapter, and with some fiddling around, I could get this kind of appearance. And then to convert the Roman script to Devanagari, because as some of the Indians might know, that if we have to type in the Devanagari script, it is quite difficult because you have to learn the keyboard layout, and then we have to memorize so many things, and it can be difficult in a multilingual book. So I found this very nice a piece of software which was there in the GitHub. Earlier, I think this person who has made this software, his name is Dominic, if I remember right, and he had also presented in one of the TUG conferences in 2011 or so, when it happened in the River Valley Technologies campus, isn't it? Yeah. So I just had a chance to watch his video, and I used this software, and it's really wonderful. I just had to make a small changes here and there in the original script which he has given, and then it perfectly fit our needs. So this is the way we got the Devanagari. We generated the Devanagari from the Roman script, you know. And then we had to do one more thing, that we had to number all the verses. There are totally 700 verses spread over 18 chapters. So I was not very sure how to, you know, of course I knew how to create a counter and make the counter to work and all that, but then we have to do it, we have to reset the counter at the end of the chapter and then use a new counter or new, enumeration at the beginning of each chapter. So I thought, why not to use some existing counter which can do the job. So then the idea struck. This I got it actually from Luke Smith. You know Luke Smith, who writes about tech. So he had mentioned about this package called TitleSec, and wherein we can actually specify how the section numbers and the section title look like in the final output. So I'll just show it in a second how it actually looks like on the screen. The title format command, beginning from the renew command. So the renew command makes sure that the section number is in the Arabic numerals, and then the title format command makes sure that the section is printed on the right side of the page. And then we have a formatting for the section number, and then the separation between the number and the content, and then finally how much distance or any additional texts, if it has to be there, between the section number and the section title. These things can be mentioned here. Of course, the second argument and the fourth argument, it's blank because there was no need for that. And you can see that the section number, we wanted to look big so that at a first glance you can just understand where you are in the chapter. So how I implemented that, while bringing it to the verses. The first thing is I defined a new command called, these are all just different names to specify different font sizes, because we wanted to make maximum use of the available space. And it's a very small book, as you can see, so I had to sometimes little bit tweak the font sizes and give different font sizes for different verses based on how much space it occupies on the final page. Therefore, I just defined 3 different commands, both in the Devanagari script and the Roman script. And we don't want to have the numbers beside the Roman verses, because those who know the Devanagari script, it's more compact than the Roman script, which means it doesn't occupy a lot of space to convey the same information. And therefore, the section command was used for the Devanagari verses only, and the Roman verses were told not to display any section numbers. That is possible by the asterisks, which you can see. Yeah, this is just a sample page of the book. The usual stuff, I don't want to elaborate on them, the headers and all that everybody knows. We have this chapter title at the beginning. The first line is the Devanagari version. Below that is the Roman script. And then each verse, like this, it goes on throughout the book. First we have the Devanagari version, and then the verse number just at the end of the verse, and also the Roman number, the Arabic number at the margin, right margin. And in this way, we have the whole book made like this. Of course, we have to do a lot of proofreading, because there is always a chance of some errors to creep in. And I was told very strictly that there should be no mistakes at all in this book. So around 6-7 people actually went through the whole book to make sure there are absolutely no mistakes. And finally, when the book was ready, we took it to the printer. And the printer said, you need to have the crop marks so that we understand where to cut the page. And then I just searched it on tech.stack exchange, and then I got this solution that just give some offset values, and then it takes care of. Basically, what we are doing here is we are defining a bigger page, and then our content fits inside that bigger page. And then you see the crop marks on all the 4 corners. So they give an indication to the printer, or to be more specific, to the person who cuts the pages after the printing is done. So he knows where to cut it. And then the final, it is sent for binding and other things. So it's quite a simple code. Just I had to figure out the exact sizes. It took some time. And then I had to actually measure it with a scale, how much it's wide and how much it is, tall, and then give some figures there. Fine. The next thing which we have done is about the weekly planner. Weekly planner has the Gregorian date printed along the columns, 7 columns, and then it has the Vedic date. It also has the Vedic month, and then any event which has happened on that date. So these are the things which I had to incorporate, and I had also indicate whether it is a full moon day or a no moon day. These things are very integral part of the Vedic calendar. In Devanagari, in Sanskrit, we say Amavasya and Purnima. Those who are Indians, you might recollect these names. So these things were given to me as a task. So I thought, let me use LaTeX for that. So this is the raw data. We have a software which is actually a astrological software. It can generate, if you give a time frame, from and to, then it can generate all these things which I just now mentioned. What is the Gregorian date? what is the day of the week, what is the Vedic date, and then we have the waxing and the waning phase of the moon. In Devanagari, in Sanskrit, we say it as Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha. And then we have the Yoga and Karana. So these things will be automatically generated by that software, and this is what we got from that. So initially I used to copy paste and do it the long way, and it was quite time consuming, and I asked myself how long I should be, how long you want to be just a beginner. You have to use tech in a nice way. So then I felt that it is better to create new commands which will take these data as input and then format the way I want it to display. I want it on the page. So therefore, I just use some simple, find and replace sequences to cut off all the white spaces and use bring everything in terms of arguments which can be fed to the command. So this is these are the commands which I have defined. The first command looks for the Gregorian day. You can see at the top here. You can see at the top here that it mentions that day 1 is an argument which is given to this command dd1, which will actually interpret this as the Gregorian day. And then the second command talks about the whether it is a full moon or a no moon. And the third command takes the input of what is actually the Vedic day of that. In Sanskrit we call it as tithi. And then the fourth command takes the input that is there any event which happened on that day. In a similar way, all the 7 days, in a similar fashion, all the 7 days were first defined, and then how these data which has been taken as inputs, how do they display? Okay, this is one sample code. How actually it looks like at the end, with all the events, the full moon day, no moon day, the Vedic date, the Gregorian date, and everything which is there. So finally, how it looks like in the final output is being determined by this code. So I say Shukla and Krishna, which means the moon is now on the waxing phase, and within a week it is transitioning from waxing phase to the waning phase. That's called Shukla and Krishna. So if we come across such a week, then such an argument, such a command will take 4 arguments. What are the arguments? Number 1 is which is the month which precedes the full moon day. According to the Vedic calendar, the month changes at the end of a full moon, which means when we have a full moon day, that will be the last day of that month. And then the next phase of the moon, it marks the beginning of the next month. So that's how it works. So the first argument takes, it determines what is the month which was there prior to the full moon day. And then the second argument says here, how many days in that particular week we have that month existing prior to the full moon day. The third argument says, what is the name of the month which is going to come next. And then the fourth argument says, how many days in that week will that month exist in that week. Obviously, the second argument and the fourth argument, if you add them together, it should add up to how much? How much? 7. Because there are only 7 days in a week, right? Like that. So you see the last line here. So I say the first month is Pausha, that is there just for 1 day, and then the second month is Magha, which is there for 6 days. Totally there will be 7 days. And then the days, how they should look like, and then what are the events which are on that day. And then we finish the page. this is how the whole thing works. The same thing has been implemented for other combinations. There are 4 possible combinations. First, you start with the waxing phase of the moon and end with the ending phase of the moon, waning phase of the moon. Start with the waning phase of the moon and the week ends with the waxing phase, or throughout the week there is only the waxing phase of the moon, and throughout the week there is only the waning phase of the moon. These are the 4 combinations that is possible. So I just wrote 4 different commands for each of them, and very similar to what you are seeing on screen. And then this is the output of that, whatever code was written. So it mentions the Gregorian date, it mentions whether it is a full moon day, this white circle, and then it says the Vedic date in Devanagari script. It says the event which happened on that day, and then it also says what was the month on that particular day, the Vedic month, of course. So in this way, the whole calendar was designed. And then the next task I had was to make a lecture schedule. So obviously a lecture schedule also has all these information, but it has to be printed in a vertical format. It should be fit in one page. So again I thought, rather than, of course I did again do the wrong way or the long way, copy paste everything and put it in a table and all that. Then I thought, we should use the capability of LaTeX, especially that of separating the form and the content. So what I did was, so I am just giving both of them side by side just to show the comparison. Here we have the 4 commands which was already there, and I just add 2 more commands because this is a lecture schedule, which means throughout the month different people will be speaking and they will have different topics to speak on. So who is the speaker is the fifth argument, and the 6th argument on what he will speak. I just had to add this. And with respect to formatting this information, whatever is there, so as you can see here, all this is horizontal format where all the dates, the days are spread over a week. Rather here we have a vertical format where we need all the days to be printed in a vertical fashion. So I just did some changes there. This shows the actual data, how it looks like, a small comparison between both. And finally, this is the result. So I didn't do much work actually. I just had to add 2 arguments and I had to feed in data into those 2 arguments, and that's the end of it. And it made my work very easy. I could save a lot of time. So this is how we used LaTeX in our ashram. So this actually brings me to the end of this talk, and I also wanted to mention some things related to my future plans, but I will mention it in the tugboat article which I am writing. And just some few closing thoughts that I feel so that this system or this community of tech users, especially in India, we need to have it on a more grassroots level, especially because India is similar to Europe in many ways. We are also multilingual. You cross the boundary and the language changes. So we have to empower groups which can penetrate at a more fundamental level, especially the student community, so that people are aware that there is something like this existing. Otherwise, we don't come to know at all, that we have LaTeX. There is not much awareness actually, and just like Eric mentioned, that he showed the whole world map, and India was in light green color, by which I understand that we have a lot of mirrors, C-tan mirrors in our country. So I just feel, the TUG tech user group at the national level, they have to try to break up into state level user groups and try to see ways and means how we can spread the awareness of LaTeX. Just imagine if I had to do all this in a graphical user interface, we cannot do anything. There is nothing called as portability of the code. It is fixed with that particular software or the package, whatever it is. And it's not multi-OS, and we cannot, to have the multilingual also, it's challenging, and the indexing and the table of contents and so many other things. And we cannot include figures in that, which is possible in LaTeX by means of ticks. We can program the figures, we can define circles, rectangles and all that. So I felt that using LaTeX was a no-brainer, actually. It was my first choice for publishing books and all the other things which we have done. I am appealing to the user community that we should have more awareness spreading programs in India, especially at the student level when they maybe come into college or so, and it's possible. It just requires some activism, and it can be done. So that is the end of my talk. I would like to thank all of you. In whichever language you prefer to read this, it has the same meaning. Any questions or comments or corrections? You might have found some rough edges in the code, but I'm just a beginner, so I think it's okay.
Maybe any questions online, brothers?
Thank you. I don't see questions online, but I would like to maybe comment, maybe a suggestion. Unfortunately, XeLaTeX is less and less maintained nowadays, so I wonder whether you consider moving to LaTeX because it's actually maintained and debugged and so on. So what are your plans?
Okay. So my question to you is the transition easy or difficult? Okay. Because I have very less time, that's why. Okay, but I will consider your point. I will.
It's not difficult, but you may want to think about it because it will probably a long-term solution.
Okay. Thank you, Boris.
Yeah, the transition, I also use a lot of packages you've used, and but also a lot of music-related stuff. Eventually, there was a point LaTeX didn't support something, but I just wrote a patch then. So you should ask help for if it's not working in LaTeX, because I think we can manage the same thing with that engine.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Salim.
Okay.
Did you come across anything, any mythological or religious stuff for which there was no support from LaTeX?
Till now, this is what I have done till now. But I have some plans how LaTeX can be used to represent the information given in the Vedic scriptures. Especially the programmable ability of LaTeX. If you know the Vedic scriptures, they are highly systemized. Systemized means everything is in a particular format. And generally, even to convey a point, there is a particular steps which are used to convey a point. So these things can actually be programmed. And even if you consider the way time is represented, it's cyclic, it's not linear. That is first. And if you see our architecture, it is highly symmetric. So these things I feel are very favorable for a programming language. It can be codified. And what challenges will come, that we have to wait and watch. As of now, I don't know, but I really have these thoughts in mind.
I just have a small suggestion and comment. In your talk, you mentioned that inputting in Indian languages is kind of difficult, but I would disagree, and there are good layouts, and basically with some training, and especially because you mentioned you need to type in multiple languages that are there in India, I would say that there are standard layouts, ISO standard layouts by Government of India, and they require a little bit of training, but once you get a good hand over it, they are extensible to all the Indian scripts, and this is the Unicode age already, and we should not rely on conversion programs which rely on other scripts to type or to get text in our scripts. So in order to be more modern and more rich in the input, more and more users should type in Unicode. So that's just a suggestion you may consider.
Yes.
So yeah, I really don't think when you have a lot of work to do, it's actually easy if you do it in your script and not the other way around. That's just my personal comment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If I can just clarify a point, that actually what happened was, we had all the verses in the Roman script to begin with. And frankly, as I had mentioned to even Boris, that there is very less time in our daily life to do this kind of stuff, because we have a very tight schedule. So I had to rely, that's why I did that. That is just the reasoning which I am giving, why I did. But I agree with your point. I got this suggestion from another gentleman also. And when we are dealing with prose, then we have to type in it makes sense more to type in the actual language. Because we already had the Roman script available, so it took very less time to, convert it and slightly modify it. As you know, when the consonant is followed by a vowel, then we cannot have they should come together, isn't it? In the Devanagari script, it's like that.
Yeah, I get your point, and especially when you have some data already in one format, it's difficult to convert and all. But I just wanted to convey my disagreement that typing in Indian languages is not at all difficult, and especially when you have good layouts, government-supported layouts.
Yes.
So I just wanted to clear that.
Yeah. I'm actually working on Tamil books also, and I type in Tamil layout, so that makes sense.
Just want to add to that point.
Yeah.
In Indic languages, you can have two kinds of keyboards. One is InScript, where you have to really learn the layout, which is the keyboard layout. The other is transliteration.
Phonetic.
So you could phonetic transliteration. So you could actually type in Romanized characters.
Yeah.
But the input will really be Unicode.
Yes.
I can't type myself in InScript. I always rely on transliteration.
Yeah.
But I always type in Unicode.
Yes. I'm aware of that. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, I am a typeface developer, and I have developed a Vedic Sanskrit many in the all Indian scripts.
Oh.
So I have seen your books. So I have found some little problem is the leading. So how can maintain the leading from the LaTeX? You can see the page number O.
Yeah. Can you come again? I could not understand your point.
This is the text leading. Text leading, line of gap.
The line gap.
Line gap.
Line spacing.
Okay, line spacing, yeah.
Whether it could be adjusted from LaTeX. So I could even answer that question. Yes, it's very easy.
Oh, I have found the many slokas. the leading is not same.
The line spacing between the lines is not the same.
Yeah.
That's what you mean to say?
Yeah.
Yes,
This is the page number O and other.
it is true. I know that. I have observed that. It is true.
Any other questions? Okay.